Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Board Game Buys. So in this series I take a look at all of the games that I've acquired over the last 30 days or so, and this episode covering May 2023. Now I have 7 games here to talk about, but before I do, I want to give a shout out to the show sponsor KIENDA.co.uk, who are my go-to online retailer when it comes to purchasing board games here. And if you use the link in my show notes or the QR code, then you can get 5% off your first order. But let's get cracking, and we're going to start with a game here called Beast. Now this is, I think it's hot off the press, a brand new game, and this is a kind of a hidden movement gamer, a one versus all game, I believe. Now this is not my own copy, it's my brother's, so he bought this one. I don't know too much about it. Now, hidden movement games are something that I'm kind of interested in, but I've not really found the one for me, I think, because I tend to find the genre quite frustrating, and my patience wears a bit thin when things aren't working out for me. So this one I know is getting a lot of good reviews recently. It seems to be getting good praise in terms of, its initial release. So hopefully the game is going to be quality. The artwork looks great. The production looks great. So hopefully the game is too. But that's all I know about this one. I know it's a hidden movement game, and it's got quite a cool aesthetic, I suppose. So hopefully I'll get this one played soon, because it is again a new release. So I want to get it reviewed when it's relatively hot. But yeah, we shall see if it's going to be a keeper or not. So that is Beast. Also, I picked up a Stefan Feld game, one that I hadn't had a chance to play. This is Jorvik. So Jorvik is is a bidding game. I have played this one. I've only played it once so far. Again, I'm going to be quiet on my thoughts about it. But this one, you are acquiring a bunch of different cards, using this very cool mechanism where you are placing your meeples almost in queues behind those cards that you want to acquire, and the more people in those queues, the more money you have to spend. But you have a chance to pass, meaning that for the next person in the queue, it's going to be that 1 coin cheaper. So that's all I'm going to share about this one. I know it's one of the Feld games that isn't necessarily the most popular. It's not one of his most highly regarded games, but 9 times out of 10 I enjoy Feld designs. So I will play this a little bit more and then share my thoughts on it, because I love Stefan Feld games. I love bidding games. I love some set collection games. It's got some resource management here. So, all of it on paper sounds like my cup of tea, but you'll have to stay tuned for my review to get my actual solidified thoughts on Jorvik. I'm on to a couple of games here that I have actually already reviewed. So this is Revive. So Revive, one of the most popular games from last year, only recently hit UK shores. So this is by Aporta Games, and has designers Christian Ostby and Eilif Svensson, as well as some other designers here involved. Now those two designers are fantastic. I made some great games in the past, like Santa Maria and stuff like that. And this one, I've reviewed it recently, so you can check out my detailed thoughts, and I think the game is absolutely amazing. I'm really impressed with it, and the more I think about it, the more I like it. Tons of engine building benefits here, lots of potential to do stuff that's different, different player factions, a good sense of discovery. I'm actually quite interested to play this one in a variant mode. So I've only actually played it so far with hidden objectives, but there is a variant where you can play with a public objective where everyone is working towards the same goals, which will kind of add a bit of tension in terms of player competition and scarcity in terms of grabbing certain spots on the board. But it does mean that there's no kind of hidden tricks up people's sleeves, and it's a bit more transparent, I suppose. So I'm quite interested to see if it's better or not as good as those hidden objectives. But the gameplay itself is so good, and go check out my review if you want to know more about Revive. One of my most anticipated games from last year, and I'm so happy to see that it's lived up to my own personal hype in my head. So that is Revive. I also picked up and reviewed already Jerusalem. So this one I just saw on KIENDA, and I thought, that looks cool. I'll give this one a go, and I'm really glad I did, because this is quite an interesting game. Another game that I've reviewed very positively, and tracking to do well in terms of my top 10 of 2023. It's kind of a hand management game. You're using these cards to do actions, and basically the goal is to try and sit next to Jesus at the Last Supper. So it has a very unique theme or skin here. You're also collecting these sets of these little kind of parable tiles, some good resource management, good hand management, kind of good prioritizing your actions. Just got a lot going on here from, I think it's a first-time designer, which impressed me a lot. It looks great, really nice production values here. Again, if you're interested in this one, check out my review because I have a lot of good things to say about it. And I think this one could be a slow burner really, because again, it's got a new aesthetic, a new theme to it, and the gameplay is really solid. So that is Jerusalem Anno Domini. On to something completely different now. So there's an upcoming Kickstarter project for this More Plus pack of cards here. So this is basically a game within a game. So when you are playing your big Euros or your big Ameritrash games that go on for hours and hours, you can have these little deck of cards here. You dish them out secretly at the start of the game. And the whole thread is you're trying to peek at your card and reveal what number you are without the other players catching you. So it's kind of like a little silly little gimmick that you can play as you're playing other games, just to keep you engaged when it's not actually your turn. So essentially it's just a pack of cards numbered from 1 to 6, but I thought it was quite a quirky idea. So keep an eye out on crowdfunding projects if that interests you. But I'll have to try this out because I'm not sure if it will land or not do too well with my gaming group, but it's quite an interesting little concept, and thinking outside the box to be a bit different. So that is More Plus. On to the last couple now. So my brother picked up a copy of Coral. So this is kind of an abstract strategy, kind of not a dexterity game, but a puzzly game with a spatial element to it, with a 3D spatial element to it, because the pieces you're playing with are these kind of L-shaped blocks, which you can lay out horizontally, or you can stack them and overlap them, etc. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get as much coverage as you can in terms of a bird's eye view. So every one of these symbols on show is going to be a point view once all the blocks have been placed. But there's another kind of a moving part within that puzzle, as you have to slide around these corals in order to build next to where you are, essentially. And of course, you're trying to cover people up, you're trying to do all this different stuff. So I have played this 2 or 3 times already. Again, I'm going to hold back on my thoughts on it. I think it only came out last year, so it's pretty new. So maybe I'll do a full review of it, or maybe I'll do it part of a series of videos, but we shall see. I'll play it a few more times and hold my thoughts until then. But another game that has a wonderful production values, very minimalist appeal to it, lovely visual aesthetic there. So that is Coral, and it's lightning quick too. It only takes around 15 minutes to play. And the final game I'm talking about is one that's just been fulfilled on Kickstarter, and one of my most anticipated games of this year. This is Union Stockyards. So this is a kind of an economic worker placement game as you are trying to run these slaughter factories. Essentially, you're trying to build up a kind of a network of buildings here. You are trying to increase your profit margins when it comes to the 3 different livestock. You've got the cows, you've got the pigs, and you've got the sheep. And you're kind of slaughtering them, getting money. You are trying to invest in these different kind of buildings you're building down. You are doing tons of different things like this, even keeping your workers happy, because they can go on strike at certain times. Now, again, I've only played this once, and I do need to give this one a full review. It's definitely a passion project with some good historical context, some good flavor text on the cards and stuff. But as a spoiler alert, this was way lighter than I was expecting and I thought it was going to be. So it's actually basically maybe a slightly more than gateway level worker placement game with a touch of supply and demand. But other than that, I'm not going to share too much about it because I do want to give this one the works. Because if anything, it does have a new skin on it. And it's got some interesting concepts, but again, I do want to give this one a full review. So hopefully I'll get that one done pretty soon. And it does play very quickly. You can get a 3-player game of this done in about an hour, which is quite impressive. So that is Union Stockyards. And that's it. That's the 7 games, or the 6.5 games if you want to count More Plus, that I've acquired. So and quite, it's quite nice that I've actually got quite a few of these played already. So I need to keep on working and plowing my way through my new games to hopefully go back and visit some old ones. But that concludes the video. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel and check out my other content too. And for everybody else, I'll see you next time on Chairman of the Board. Bye bye.